Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and we are live. I'll give you guys a bicep shot before we get started. Biceps. All right, let's get into this. Sure, people ask, why was there no training vlog today? I woke up feeling really sick. I'm still not feeling 100%. Slept most of the day, just tried to relax, do a little bit better. But yeah, I woke up with a bad headache. Woke up with my low back hurting, feeling like maybe possibly a low grade fever. So again, you don't train under those conditions. It's kind of like I tell my clients, if you're sick and you can't get a good workout, don't go in and train. In fact, I made the mistake of trying to warm up while feeling bad. It was heavy. Like warm up weights felt like maxes, like weights that I could probably do 30 reps with felt like 600 pounds. Get in those situations, you just don't train. So we'll get back on schedule tomorrow, assuming I'm feeling better. Again, fluids, rest, sleep, that's what you do in those cases. But we don't get in and try to train. The same thing I tell people too, if you feel like you possibly have a virus, definitely don't go to the public gym and train. Just don't spread it around the gym. Not cool. But yeah, so that's why there's no vlog. Definitely feeling under the weather. Feeling a little better. I'm hoping it's not any sort of big virus, hopefully just a long day bug. I don't tend to get the big ones very often. So, but I had a great workout yesterday. So it's just kind of weird that happened today. All right, we got a few people in here watching already. Usually got 7 already in the first minute. Sometimes we don't get any for the first couple. All right, so we've got some people in. Let's see if we can get some topics going, some questions, or we could continue to talk about not training when sick, talk about nutrition, any other specific current events going on that people want to know about. I almost feel like lives are a better place to address topics on current events than making their own videos, because then people kind of let you know what they want to hear about. The problem is I don't always have the answers. People will ask me, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know who that is. Hey, what do you think? Like someone asked me that, or even with Matt Ogus. I know I've met Matt Ogus in person. What do you think about him with something with some natural fed pro card? And I'm just like, I don't have thoughts on it. I thought he was already a natural pro 10 years ago. And so I don't even know what this federation is. So unfortunately, I'm not going to have answers to things like that. Because I'm on a few different platforms. I don't always know what's happening with the YouTube's community itself. But yeah, I mean, he's an OG. So I don't know what the controversy is. Maybe if anyone wants to chime in and say what it is, I don't know why it's a controversy that there needs to be thoughts on, other than Matt's a strong guy. He's trained hard, trained a real long time. He's strong, has a good physique, probably well-deserved. He got whatever he got in terms of a card, right? All right. So we're just going to keep chilling. My luggage is here. Let's see if anybody's got anything to say. Now, this is rare that we go this long without any comments, though. There's been no comments or questions. Do I not have it scrolled down correctly? So I'll get a sip of water. But yeah, I haven't had a lot else going on. Just had my normal life. Big Griff, no. Didn't you ask this sort of stuff last time? Like, why, what does this have to do with training? I know a few phrases in Spanish, and I can understand some Spanish. I mean, I do live in Texas, but I'm not going to wound anybody's ears with my words in Spanish on camera, right? But dude, you need to get a new line. Get another topic to think about, Sorry, man. How big are your arms? I'm gonna guess 16 and a half or so right now. Quick breakdown of your last Warhammer game. We played 2 games. The first one he didn't deploy well. We called it early through and restarted. He called it the win. Quick Warhammer games. My Slaves to Darkness versus my best friends. Maggot Ken of Nurgle, 1,000-point game. I pretty much got first terms. I built my army to do it, rushed it, took all the objectives, slowed all his stuff down with endless spells. We fought in the middle. I won 36-17. We both had only one unit left on the table at the end. I put up pictures of that on Facebook, by the way. If you want to see, there's a couple snapshots from it. I don't see my Facebook hasn't grown in over a year really, so I don't see the 1 million followers anytime soon, which is what it is. Maybe one day. Hey, maybe my YouTube will reach 1 million one day also. It's gonna be up to you people to spread it around. Do you regret going hard against YouTube fitness back in 20? No, I mean not necessarily. It was a learning curve. I probably went harder against people than I should have. I probably went harder than was appropriate, but I know people who feel that I didn't go hard enough. They're like, there's all these scam artists. Why didn't you go harder? I don't know. I guess I have a couple ways I could think about that these days as I've gotten older and more mature. Come to realize, yes, most of the fitness is full of scam artists, but it takes someone willing to be scammed. In other words, if people are going to really be convinced that tons of over-the-counter supplements work and they don't really research and realize they can't legally sell you stuff that works, it's against the law, and they still get scammed because they just think they're going to get a shortcut, then you know what? What am I supposed to say? They're a willing accomplice. At a certain point, you have to go, look, quit. We know the scam artists are going to be there. Quit being suckers. Just stop it. So you know what I mean? It's hard to find that middle ground. Because honestly, we know the fitness world is full of scammer. There's a point where just trying to fight against it's a waste of time. People just have to quit being gullible. That's it. Quit hero worshiping. That's the problem. They see someone who's on the screen that they look up to and they hero worship them, and then they assume that they're always going to be a great person to have their best interest in mind, and they would never sell them a bad product, and they would never cheat, and they would never lie because they like their personality. You just have to stop with this sort of hero worship. Okay. All right. Sorry, we got on a tangent there. Do you believe in counting calories or macros? Overall calories are probably more important because it really is net energies. And even then, people say, well, the macros do matter. They do matter, but individual macros matter. I mean, fat is not all equal. Carbs are not all equal in terms of what they do in the body. So at a certain point, even then, macro counting still has its limitations if you're just counting carbs as carbs. So really, though, I would say the most important things is to just focus on quality food, knowing if you're following a lower carb or a higher carb diet, track your calories, track your protein, for most people. But I don't think either approach is wrong. But I mean, I don't think macros themselves as a number are more important than calories per se. I'm not going to discuss politics at all. I'm not going to I don't want to discuss politics publicly. All right. Big lesson to learn is people don't want to be saved in the fitness world. They really don't. Again, they're willful accomplices at a certain point to being scammed. Like if you have ever bought any of the stuff that Greg Doucette sells, what are these things? Tomcat Alley, or the newest one. I'm sorry, my brain is not working today. Egg Distero. If you've ever bought Egg Distero, then you're a willful accomplice. Like you just want to be scammed. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You woke up one morning and just said, I just want to get scammed. Did you see Konevsky getting arrested while No, I did not. No one even told me about it. I don't even know if that's actually happened or if you just made it up. Jason, you know how your thumbnails point to the sky? I suppose. I don't know. I don't know about that. Do I point at the sky in my thumbnails? I wouldn't even know where I did that. Okay. All right, then. Hey, Jason, how many accessories on conjugate would you program for an athlete in a non-strength sport? Strength is not priority. Not that many. Handful. Maybe 6 total accessories for the week. Probably be fine for them. Recommend any electrolytes? Yeah, I think potassium and magnesium. I think any sort of extra potassium is great. Jason, where reading is gold. Reading is good. Yeah, I mean, read about any of these products before you start buying them or get taken by it. What do you think about carb powder? Why would you ever need carb powders? I mean, realistically, are carbohydrates hard to find or get in your diet? I mean, seriously. White rice, white bread, white pasta, those are all pretty easy, fast carbs. You shouldn't even need powders. All right. Is it okay to take 40 to 60 grams of whey protein a day? Why wouldn't it be? Sam, rephrase the question. What would be the possible risk of that? I can't see any problem with it. Right? All right. Let's get rid of this guy. Do you have any advice on people who train with very low effort? How can they push themselves harder? Get in and push harder. It really is no advice that needs to be given. Simply get in and push yourself harder. Just take your sets to failure. That's it. That's the only advice. That's literally like saying, what advice do you have for someone who won't just push an object till it won't move? Well, push the object till it doesn't move. I mean, it's very, very straightforward, isn't it? It's very straightforward. There's nothing more to it. Do you like Mike Minzer's style of training? I think Minzer got some interesting things right, but we shouldn't take Minzer as a whole and say it was great because a lot of what Minzer has taught has been debunked in the lab. Okay, so it really shouldn't be a case of saying, do you like Minzer's? Well, you shouldn't like Minzer's style of training. A lot of it's been debunked. Could you give him credit for some of the ideas that he put out and some of the good stuff that helped take things in certain directions? Yes. Yes, absolutely. All right. Barji, what do you mean carbs are hard for you to get? How so? Why? I mean, carbs are ubiquitous. They're easy to obtain everywhere around the world, barring maybe deep in the wilderness. Do you think plyometrics can be overrated? I feel unless you're sub 12%. It's you can already squat. It's a misplacement of resources. We mean it can be overrated. Plyometrics are just resistance, right? Plyometrics is just resistance. That's it. Do I follow any sports or teams? Not actively. I mean, I watch the same stuff other people do, the Olympics and other stuff. I don't follow any team sports. Don't really care about team sports. Yeah, Dan goes, carbs are literally the cheapest, easiest food source. Exactly. Like the idea that's just kind of funny. Well, Margie, let's look at what you said there. You said that you struggle to eat enough carbs. You're saying not enough carbs. You're saying you have low effort. Well, yeah, if you're not eating carbs and you are simply not pushing hard in the gym, that 100% explains no gains. So eat more, get your carbs, get your protein, push your sets actually harder. It is really that simple. Do you think you should program naps in between sets? Sometimes I get really, what? Naps between sets. How many carbs do I need a day? I don't know how many carbs you need a day. I tell you what, Barjeet, I got coaching slots open. Apply for one or put in for a consultation, and I will go over your personal math with you. in a professional environment. But as a vague question, how many carbs do I need a day? It's going to be a circular answer. You need the amount of carbs a day that you need. Is it 200 grams? Is it 500 grams? I don't know. Because I don't have info about you. We haven't sat down and gone through all of it. But yeah, Igor, come on, man. Naps between sets. How would you program that? I wouldn't program them at all. All right. But since no one else is asking anything of relevance, I guess we could talk about men's or more. Hey, coach, I can rep 500 pounds on the deadlift, but can't bench 225. I have long ape arms at 6 foot, 285. Any tips? I think we have the answer here, Noah. You have a low bench. You didn't say how much you can bench. You said you can't bench 225. You're tall and lanky, and you're at a light body weight for your height. You're probably just going to need to gain more muscle. I mean, it really is that simple. You're going to need to continue to gain muscle. You need to eat enough to gain muscle. And you're going to have to continue to build your pecs and your triceps. Again, very straightforward. Jason, I can't really move up on incline bench 4x7 at 180 and have stalled, but continue to increase dumbbell presses after progressive overload still happening decently. Yeah, that's obviously. I mean, you can't expect your weights on your big lifts to just go up linearly all the time. Okay? That's it. You can't expect that. So you make the gains where you can and you ride them out, and eventually they will go up as you gain muscle. But something like getting stronger at rep work on an incline bench over time is really about muscle growth. Okay? How many reps in reserve do you recommend per days? No more than 2. No more than 2 reps left in the tank. And if you struggle with calculating that, you should probably do quite a few of your sets to actual failure. How much rest should we take between sets on a 5x5, a long breaks? Minimum 3 minutes. Minimum 3 minutes. TJ, I'm glad your mom thinks I'm hot. Tell her I said thank you. And then he also asked, why is Konevsky always out of breath? Well, because he's at a high body weight and he uses a lot of gear. Pretty straightforward. All right, clean out some of the nonsense. What are your thoughts? Helen, I don't discuss politics on here, right? I don't discuss politics. It's not a topic I discuss on the internet. So I'm not going to get an answer. However, I can discuss with you how to get a better deadlift, how to get bigger lats. We can discuss fat loss. We can discuss all that stuff. Here's my question. I want to know how much these presidential candidates deadlift. I think that's what we need to be looking at. Why haven't we had a deadlift contest in any of these elections? Why aren't we focusing on the stuff that matters? How much do you deadlift, bro? Right? Am I right? Can I get an amen? That needs to be the real questions we're asking now. What's their favorite source of protein? Would you say the overcomplication of strength training pushed by most is purely to sell programs? Absolutely, 100%. Grant, do you think you'll cut to 90 kilo eventually? Probably yes. I've been slowly working down that way. Morgan says, are there exercise specific sets the middle part of incline bench, bigger chest, bigger delts? Doing the incline bench itself will help. Overhead pressing will help. No? What do you think women care about most on a man's body? I don't think it's to care about just a single thing, honestly. Different women are going to look at different stuff more, but there were studies showing that a lot of women care about the actual glutes more. What you going to do? All right. How does the UK lifting scene differ from the US? I don't know how to describe that because it's not like a ubiquitous thing. It's not like the US has one single lifting scene. It's kind of big. Uh, you might want to ask specific questions about that. What are some of your top tips on a cut to retain strength? Lose weight slowly. Lose weight slowly. Focus on your recovery. That's your biggest tips. Don't try to cut too fast. I didn't do 3 minute rest between sets, but I lost 50 pounds and went from 135 minutes to 225 doing 5x5. There you go. That's solid, man. Helena, are you actually here for fitness, or are you just here to troll? Because so far you've talked about Chuck Basher dancing around in his live stream, and you asked about politics. Are we here for fitness or not? Hey, coach, thoughts on doing shoulders and arms together on one day? Why, I don't know why you would necessarily do that approach. I mean, you could, but I don't think it's necessarily the best thing you could do. Right? I don't really program anyone that way. But if that's how you choose to do it, then I don't see an issue. Okay. TJ says you're looking lean. Brother, thank you. I appreciate it. Are there any benefits to the vertical diet instead of the row diet in terms of body composition? No, row diets are actually probably going to be a little bit leaner. Vertical diets is a great way to get big, though. I mean, you can get big on vertical diet. Most row dieting, though, I mean, if you really kind of compare, because it's lower in fat, less saturated fat in particular, better satiety, you're probably going to be leaner. Keep in mind, the vertical diet is built around getting large amounts of calories in without gastrointestinal distress. That is almost the principle behind it, with all the low FODMAP foods, focusing on the white rice, the red meat, all of that. Has there been any new literature on myofibular versus sarcoplasmic growth? Do you currently think it's real, and to what extent? Been no new literature. Obviously, they're real. It's just that any idea that you're going to significantly cause more of one than the other, interchange the ratios, is very limited data. You're going to get both from lifting weights, and there's really no way around that. The only debate has been, can different training styles cause different ratios? And that is still debated by the best experts for 20 years. Should I quit bodybuilding if I have bad genetics? No, why do you need to do that? You should do what you want to do, man. Also, if you decided you have bad genetics, you've already just predispositioned yourself to not make gains. Get rid of that idea. We think it's an ideal body fat for BJJ athletes, and weight class is probably fairly lean, close to that 10% mark. Would you ever compete in those slap? I think slap competitions are stupid. Literally a sport designed to just destroy your brain cells. It serves no purpose, no skill, other than to just give yourself punch drunk. At least fighting sports are skill, right? Boxing is a skill. Highly skilled sport, requires insane amounts of skill. Slapping it's just stupid. Anybody who does it is an idiot. And I guess if Larry Wheels is doing it, then that sums it up. That tells you everything you need to know about him. Hey, Big, I don't really discuss my personal life or show stuff. You're not going to get a tour of my house. I actually did yeah, Jamal, that's, for those who don't know, that is Cali Muscle's gay prawn handle when he did that right after he got out of prison. Are pinto beans a good source of fats and carbs? Protein are a superfood. A source of fats. There's not really much fat in. They're a good source of carbs, but they're high in fiber. You're going to be able to eat less of them. They're great for satiety, though, when you want to eat less. How is the popularity of lifting in the UK versus US, where are people stronger on average? Um, I don't, on average, or do you mean where you have the most strength? I mean, more strong people in the U.S. because we have more people. Okay, we just do. The UK has a lot of really strong lifters. Has a really lot of really jacked lifters, but they also have a lot of goofy, just goof off box gyms too, where people don't get results. So it's just like the U.S. in that regard. It's just a smaller pool. The lifting cultures themselves are a little different, but I don't know how to describe that. Having lived in both long term, uh, you know, slap boxing is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, dude. It really is. If you're gonna get CTEs, at least learn to kick some butt. Yeah, exactly, Zeller. It's like if you're gonna get concussions, at least go do a real fighting sport. Like the slap thing is stupid. What do you think about arm wrestling? Do you think I should do the lifts they do to grow my forearms? Well, you don't necessarily need to do the lifts they do. You can just train your forearms and do grip training and forearm training to grow your forearms. It doesn't have to be specific to that. And not all arm wrestlers use the same protocols. Just like other sports, they use dozens of different stuffs. Different champions don't follow the same gym approach for that. But I think arm wrestling is a legitimate sport. If you're asking what I think about it, it's absolutely a legit sport. How many grams of protein would you recommend per pound of body weight? Are you trying to protein overfeed for recomp or fat loss, or are you just trying to gain muscle? Because for the latter, it's an open-ended number. I don't know. Can you force down 400 grams? Well, there's your answer. Can you afford 400 grams? There's your answer. If you're just trying to maximize muscle growth, it's 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. So that's about 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that's about 160 grams. How much do I have to sacrifice to lift weights? You don't. Uh, let's see. Uh, just get rid of all of this nonsense. Would you recommend visiting the UK worth the trip? Well, I don't know. If you like historical buildings, then yeah, absolutely, it's worth the trip. If your budget allows for it and you like history, UK is a great visit. But that's the primary thing that it brings to the table as far as that goes. Again, speaking as someone who spent 3 years there, that's it. Uh, the history, the cathedrals, the buildings. True, I already addressed that back in that year. Actually, I decided to cut and work on physique instead of continuing to push that. You saw me get up to a 365 with a 2 second pause. You saw me do 315 for 8, and I realized at that point in my life trying to push with a 405, um, it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. It just wasn't. So I decided to work on my fitness, to work on cutting, getting leaner, to get a better physique, and just improve my health. Because I felt like to get to the 405 bench, I was going to have to gain a little more weight, and I don't think that that's good for me at this point in my life. Will I eventually maybe still get the 405? Maybe, but it's not. It's not a priority for me at the moment. I've been doing speed box squats, deadlifts, and bench performance. Definitely getting better. Yeah, those all work. Would you ever compete in a strength competition like Physical 100 or outdoor survival show like Alone? I don't know what Physical 100 is, so I can't answer that. As far as this outdoor survival, I used to be a very outdoorsy person. I'm not anymore. As I get old, I enjoy the comforts of indoor. I don't like sitting in the heat and the mosquitoes, so probably not. I'll admit it. On that particular area, I've gotten softer with age, and I'll admit that. Like it seems like certain things change when you get older. In your 40s. Like at 47, I really just have no interest in sitting out in the woods. I just don't. Should I watch your older videos? No, you can watch them. There's still a lot of good info in there. Levin says arms and shoulder together makes more sense than an arm only or shoulder only. No, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, if you're trying to do a 4-day, then sure, potentially. But I could just as easily on a 4-day still have a shoulder and an arm day. You put chest and back in one. You put all your legs in another. It depends on what your weakest links are. Muscles that are a weak link, really that are serious weak links for you, probably on a split should have their own days. You ever been to Germany? Nope. Personal opinion is serious lifters should only cut our best lifts in official competition, not in the gym. There'd have been a time I would have said that, but there's a point where it's hard to get to competitions. But for you, did you lift it on weights that you know are legitimate weights? Did you legitimately do the lifting? You should count it. Should it count in a record book? Of course not. All right. How do you deal with jerks at the gym? You don't. I tumbled through the weight and it landed on my foot. Margit, I don't know what to tell you on that. All right. Who are these people? What accessories do you think still work well for BJJ athletes? Anything that helps you grapple. Any sort of pulling with fat bars is great. Pull-ups, rows, deadlifts, all that stuff. Anything to help get your hips stronger. So good mornings, glute ham raises, anything like that. Jason, you've cut a lot. Was there any negative side effects with so much muscle mass, sleep? Yeah, I had sleep apnea at the higher body weights. Absolutely. All right. What exactly do pullovers do? They just build the muscles around the ribs, gives the extended illusion. No, they don't expand the rib cage. That's nonsense. No, pullovers, they help with shoulder mobility. They're a pec exercise. They're a lat exercise. They're a long-headed tricep exercise. They work the intercostals, serratus. All right, that's what they do. Good exercise. All right. Will the Facebook Lives return soon? Leo, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I've just ordered an axle bar. Could inverted rows with them work well? Yes, I have done axle bar inverted rows on camera in the past. Are there any cons of solely focusing on pause pen squats? Yeah, it can beat your bars up. They're a little hard on you to do all the time, right? Because any sort of pen work, if you're not careful, can beat your joints up a little bit. It can also beat your equipment up a little bit. So there are downsides to that. But are pause pen squats a good exercise? Absolutely. Absolutely. What would be your default 4-day split? 11, hard to say. Maybe I would lean forward just overall physique for someone who's balanced. I would possibly consider, just as a baseline, assuming they've been training their legs and their legs are not behind. I could very happily have someone do a leg day, chest and tricep day, back and bicep day, and then a shoulder day. All right. What's your all-time standing overhead press max? 227.5 on a strict press. And yes, it was done on camera. Do you have YouTube rep with a channel of your size? I was in the program for a while. It was only like a 6-month program, but I've had one. I still have contact to them though. So like if there's certain issues that arise, I can reach out to Google. So they give you, it's Google reps. It's not YouTube. The client vlogs. I got tired of doing client vlogs, honestly. The amount of effort that I put into the client vlogs versus the views and the outreach, it just wasn't there. It wasn't worth the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Right? Let's see. Do you think you'll ever go back to chasing strength? I still care about strength. I mean, my lifts now, even if it's a 10 rep max, right? It's all still strength at the end of the day. Even physique training will make you stronger. Okay. Totally. No. Let's just get rid of some of these trolls. All right, guys, I got to clear some of the silly ass trolls out. All right, let's get over to real questions. I think I remember years ago you mentioned overhead press was a better lift for building muscle than bench. No, I took that back years ago. All right, I took that back years ago. So again, that is not a position I have held for many, many years. And it wasn't necessarily better muscle, it was just certain muscles. But no, absolutely, absolutely, the bench press builds more muscle than the overhead press. That should not even be in question. Yeah, Dan, I'm going to leave this stuff alone with Isaac. You know, purely an issue of inconsistency in following the programming and following through on his commitments. But I don't think he's a bad person or anything. It's just we were not compatible in terms of any sort of business relationship, and it's that simple. I don't wish the guy any ill will in any way. Okay, so I want to be clear on that. Again, guys, we don't discuss any aspects of my personal life, so I guess we don't need to go. Yeah, he's clearly a troll. Thoughts on overhead press as a max effort movement? If you care about your max on the overhead press, then you could use it as a max effort movement. I don't necessarily do that anymore. I used to max on it. I used to do it on camera all the time. I've programmed it perfectly fine for a max effort lift. Perfectly fine for a max effort lift, but keep in mind, it's still not going to be a competition lift. And I don't even really do max lifts these days myself, right? I tend to like the overhead press really is just really a supplemental lift to help build the front delts, carry over to your incline, just improve the general lift of your shoulder girdle. Do you like super wide grip pull-ups? Yeah, you see me do them all the time. What order would you do that 4-day split you described? 11, I would base that upon the needs of the person. I would base the order of that upon what the person needs. I mean, I could call a default and we could just do traditional like people have always done of doing the bench first because it's on Monday and finish the week on leg day. And put back in biceps and shoulders somewhere in between, right? Is overhead press still a great side delt exercise? No. Is it an okay, moderately okay side delt exercise? Yes. I wouldn't call it a good side delt exercise. Definitely not a great one. It will work the side delts to some extent. It will not work them as much as a simple lateral raise or an upright raise. Okay. Works front delts really well though. It's also good for pec minor. It's good for overall just pressing strength. What about for sports? Many people recommend overhead press for BJJ, but I struggle to see the application. I've been on the mat for over 10 years. Dan, I don't see why they would do it for BJJ either. Having seen BJJ matches, having coached the lifters who competed in BJJ, I don't really see how it carries over specifically to that sport either. It wouldn't really be in my top 5 exercises for that sport. If they want to do it, they can, right? It's still a good exercise. Okay. What's your personal favorite variation of the row? I don't have a favorite. I like lots of different types of rows. Um, if I had to pin it down, maybe a seal row, but I say that lightly. It's not really a favorite. Any tips on overcoming golfer's elbows? Got terrible. Quit putting direct tension on that area. Try to do band work, high rep band work for all of it. Try doing high rep band work for your triceps and biceps. Yeah, the dust is cleared from the hurricane. That was a heck of a week there. It was a heck of a week. How you would train and eat for following. Can you give a breakdown of how you would train and eat for the following situation? Bulking, got strong, but then stopped training and kept bulking for a year, lost muscle and retained fat. You're not fat though. Well, in that case, just lean bulk. You could do a cut, but I would recommend you just get on a good hypertrophy program, a good program for your whole body. Start training, right? Start training again and just do a nice, clean, lean bulk. Have all your joints remain healthy after all the years of training. Kudos on your cut results are good. My joints are overall healthy. They don't hurt, but I do have some of them that have less range of motion. I've lost range of motion on some of them. And that's just possibly an age thing, accumulation of minor injuries is what it is. Those are all upper body. My lower body ones are great. Milo Wolf claims a pullover is the best light exercise. What's your take on that? I don't know that I would agree with that. However, I would agree with Milo that the pullover is a really good light exercise. The best, I can't see evidence of that, right? I can't see evidence of that. But is it a good exercise? Yeah, I prescribe the pullover to clients. I like the pullover. I don't schedule my lives at all. I do lives when I feel like doing them. So don't expect a schedule or a time. What in the heck did you just write? Alexander, I have no idea what you just said. White rice is perfectly healthy. There's no reason to think white rice can't be part of a healthy diet. We have tons of evidence all over the world of this being the case. Some of the healthiest cultures on earth, longest lived people, lowest rates of diabetes and cancer eat lots of white rice. I have family live in Houston. They had to stay at a hotel for a week while the power was out. Yeah, I know people who had to. Ben, if sunflower seeds for the gym, why would you? They're just a food, dude. I don't think there's a gym benefit to sunflower seeds. Do you think a heavy sets of 5 are a common cause of people's joint issues? I see this so much, starting strength. Yeah, I mean, if you're just beating heavy 5s all the time until you get really strong, yeah, that's going to be a problem, right? That's definitely going to be a problem. A clean bulk or cut, what do you think mean by hypertrophy training? I'm currently getting back to strength training. Meaning come in and train all your muscles for size. I mean, obviously that can include strength. I mean, you could do a basic 5x5 with some arm work or whatever, but get in and actually train your whole body with weights is what I mean. Okay. I need to overcome the temptation to slap big booties at the gym, bro. Well, how about you just don't do it? How about thought patrol? How about you just don't do it? That's pretty simple. To just be a decent person and not treat other people with disrespect out in public shouldn't be a big temptation. That shouldn't be hard to do. Is there a proposed evolutionary and scientific explanation for why calf size is so genetically determined? Possibly. We know some smaller calf areas are related to famines and the need to survive because you burn less calories walking around. Possibly some areas with more mountainous regions, there seems to be some predisposition for bigger calves because they maybe need to climb up hills and mountains. Probably about it. Bringing up your side delts will bring your physique to the next level, Jason. I think that's true for many people. Definitely true for me. I'm working side delts quite a bit. Tomorrow is shoulder day, actually. Humans doesn't gain carbs into fat, so that explains. Well, vegan, that's its own set of issues. Yeah, we don't store carbs as fat, not to a significant degree. I don't want to say not at all because it's there, but it's not that significant. In other words, if you only ate carbohydrates with trace amounts of fat, it would be very hard for you to become overweight. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying you wouldn't gain any fat ever. It's very difficult, and because it happens at a trace amount. But it will, if you're overeating carbs, you'll store the fat that you eat then. But if you overeat fat, you'll store all the excess fat you eat. Thoughts on electrolyte powders for intermittent fasting if they are cheap and the person is comfortable to spend on them? Perfectly fine. Right? Perfectly fine. I think a lot of us would benefit from extra electrolytes like potassium and magnesium. You said that Nordic curls is bad for your knees. It has to do with the angles. I feel like it can injure them. It's my opinion. It seems like old school guys didn't deadlift. Yeah, they did. Where'd you come up with that? Did you ever have clients from India? No. Do I have clients whose ancestors are from India? Yes, but I've never had clients who lived in India. Not anyone outside the window. Why call people insult some people? Yeah, there's no need to insult people and things like that. He once made an argument that Z's exposed a lot of gamers to the gym. Can we also make the argument that anime has also exposed a lot of people to the gym? I don't know about that. I've never seen evidence of that. Now, if you have evidence of that, feel free to bring it up. All right, feel free to look it up, but or post it somewhere. But I've seen no proof of that. Ziz literally did do that though, because he was in the gaming community and was known to be a gamer and lifted. You know, so he did have a positive impact. Whatever else you want to say about the guy. Once you do, what do you do once you've reached your cutting goal where you maintain your weight? I'm probably not going to ever bulk again. There's no need for me to do that. All right. Who's your favorite female fitness model? Who's your favorite female? I don't know that I have a favorite female fitness model. As far as the fitness figures online, though, I kind of like it's that Russian girl, Vladisava Golan. I like her. Let's see. Is there any reason to train high rep sets when cutting? I think I find my performance diminishes the most on high reps from less energy. No, nothing wrong with you. I do high reps when cutting. I think you can do both. No reason not to do them. Not saying they have any advantage or disadvantage, just different reps. But they're also easier on your joints. They can create more fatigue in certain ways that you have to recover from, but they're also easier on joints and tendons too. All right. Barjeet, we do not discuss steroids here. Ever had any German clients? Yes. I actually have a German client now who I've had for at least 4 years. Do you have a coach or mentor you work with? No, I do not. Are you more of a butt or a chest guy? Butt. Does calf grow from walking and standing whole day at job? I find my calves huge after a long day. Yeah, that can happen. Sure, absolutely. All right, guys, we're about 48 minutes in. I think I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. So I appreciate all the questions. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time. Let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Not bicep. No, I will probably not be doing a live tomorrow.